It's 10 o'clock. It's time for the council in session. We have Mr. Alarcon, Mr. Alatorre, Ms. Misikowski. We have 4 members present. We need 6 more for a quorum. It's 15 minutes after 10, and we have 8 members present. We need 2 more for a quorum. We have Mr. Alarcon, Mr. Alatorre, Mrs. Chick, Mr. Fuhrer, Ms. Mistakowski, Mr. Ridley Thomas, Mr. Wax. We need 2 more. Nate Holden, the newsmaker of the year. Would you please come in? TV cameras are waiting for you, Nate. Come on in. Look at that smile on his face. I never. Call the roll.
Alarcon, Alatorre, Brinson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Mistakowski, Ridley Thomas, Savornich, Wax, Walters, Farrar. 10 council members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, the council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 21st day of January 1998. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Wax moves, Mr. Hernandez seconds. There are no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Items 1 through 5 are required public hearings. Item 5, there's been a request to continue that to February the 11th, if the councilwoman of the district agrees.
Which one?
5, the applicant requested a continuance to February the 11th.
Okay. Is there any objections? Council member of the 5th, what? Well, let's wait, let's hold that on the desk until Ms. Galanter gets here. Okay, we have 1 through 4. Anybody in the chamber wants to be heard on 1 through 4? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion by council members?
I need a motion, Mr. President, to confirm 1, 3, and 4, and to waive $200 of the administrative fee on item 2 and assess $692.70. That's in Council District 14, item 2.
Okay, Mrs. Chick moves on those items. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Those are approved. 5 is held on the desk. Next item.
Items 6 through 23 are items for which public hearings have been held.
We have somebody that doesn't want to be heard on 11. But are they specials by council members? 6 through 23. 9 is called special?
There's been a request to continue 9 to February the 20th, CD5.
We have 9 is to continue until when?
February 20th.
Is there any objections to that? Seeing none, that'll be the order. We have on item 11, we have a majority and a minority report, so we'll call that special. And Mr. Holden, you wanted to call what?
15 and 19.
15 and 19? Okay. Yes. Okay. Prepare the roll on 6 through 23 with the exception of 9 had been continued, 11, 15, and 19. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Those are approved. Next item.
Items 24 through 43 are items for which public hearings have not been held.
Okay. We don't have anybody that wants to be heard on any of those items, so is there anybody in the chamber who wants to be heard on any of those items, 24 through 43? 43.
33 special, Mr. President.
33 is called special. Any others? If not, prepare the roll on 24 through 43 with the exception 25 is to be received and filed.
25, receive and file, and 29, you have different recommendations. You may want to call
We'll
29.
call that special. So we'll call 25 has been received and filed, so we have 24 through 43 with the exception of 25, 29, and 33. Prepare the roll and tabulate the vote. Yeah, that's right. 24 through 43. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved.
Forthwith on 34, please.
Forthwith on 34.
Also, Mr. President, I'd like to move to reconsider item number 4. Someone would like to submit a car whose property is involved. They were late coming to council. I'd like to give them the opportunity to speak.
Okay, there's no objections to reconsider 4. 4 is before us.
It's a required hearing.
The next items are 44 and 45 are closed session.
Closed
We'll hold
session
those on the
items.
desk.
All right.
So now we'll go to item number 4. Where's the card? Oh, here it is. Dan Salem, did you want to be heard? Take the center microphone. You want to be heard on 4?
Yes.
Start talking.
Okay. My name is Danny Saleh. I'm the owner of that right now the property.
Talk into the microphone.
Yes, property 6109 Afton Place. That property, I was talking to the city and all the officials in the Hollywood area in order to rehab this property. It was a 4-unit property and it was a historical building, and I was purchasing that from Fannie Mae, the note, and we were going through the process to rehab the building, and the day that I acquired the building, I was not notified whatsoever, and the next day I went to look at the property that I purchased. It was demolished, and there was no notice came from me through the city or from the people I bought it from, and I don't think right now I should be penalized for something that I even haven't was noticed or for that property. And the city knows about it. I told them that.
Could we hear from
they
the department?
acknowledged that they did not notify me. The Fannie Mae.
Okay, thank you.
They-
And we'll hear from the department now.
Mr. President, members of council, my name is Angel Calvo. I'm with the LA Department of Building and Safety. This property was earthquake damage, historical building that the department handled, inspected. When we inspected it back all the way in 1994, it looked like the building was going to collapse. However, at the time, the engineer for the city that inspected it said the building could be repaired. No action was taken on the building. The building deteriorated, and the building was declared an imminent hazard, and that was on the 16th of January, 1997. The city engineer inspected the building and determined that the building had deteriorated to the point where it was going to collapse. The building was then subsequently demolished by Department of General Services. Now, sir, what's your name so I can confirm it?
My name is Danny Saleh.
The department had been in contact with the gentleman, and he had first indicated to our inspectors that he was the owner of the property. Upon us contacting the attorney that we understood was representing the owners of the property, they indicated that this gentleman was in fact not the owner. He just had a property interest in the property, but he was not the owner. We asked for confirmation documents to prove to us that this gentleman was the owner, and none of those were provided to us until the first week of April of this year, several weeks after the building had been demolished and all the work had been completed.
Can I respond to that?
Mr., anything else you want to say? Because the public hearing is closed.
I cannot respond to that.
You can respond to him after. Okay.
In City of Hollywood to repair.
Turn the sound on so we can hear what he...
Okay. So I was in contact with all the redevelopment agency, and I was in an escrow at a time, and to purchase the note. And I was involved with a lady that I believe she was a city attorney at the time, and is, I believe, I'm not sure. And they knew my name, my phone numbers, and everywhere to contact me in my office. And I was not notified whatsoever. And even Fannie Mae, that I bought the note, did not notify me that the building is going to demolish. When I acquired the property, after my acquisition, the next day, I believe, I notified that 48 or 2-3 days before it was been, the building was demolished. But there was a possible way of rehabbing, and the City of Hollywood and the redevelopment was very much for it to do that.
Well, there is a certain grain of truth to that. He was in contact with the city attorney's office. He was in contact with building and safety. And on more than one occasion, Inspector Vera Guardado from our office spoke with the gentleman, informed him what building and safety was in the process of doing, provided him details on what the demolition, what the status of it was, where we were in the demolition process, what the costs were. So we were in contact with him, and we notified him in every stage of the demolition as to
Absolutely
where
not.
we were and what we were doing.
With all due respect, I
We're not going to, now we're going to, please, this is not a place to argue. If you want to go talk to this gentleman, and we'll hold it on the desk.
I
And
would request
and...
desk, and we'll
but,
sort out the
This
facts.
public hearing is closed, and we're not going to have you two argue with each other.
Okay, we'll
Okay, the
sort
next
out
item.
facts. I would like to hold it on the desk until the end of the meeting, and
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the next item.
Item 5, you were holding for Councilmember Galanter to see if she agreed to the continuance to February
Ms.
the
Galanter,
11th.
there's been a request to continue.
that would be fine.
Okay, the request is to continue until February 11th. There's no objections, that will be the order. Next item.
Item 11 called special. You have majority minority reports. Councilmember Chick.
Members, we have Mr. Holden's majority report and Mr. Fuhr's minority report. There are people who want to be heard, but we've had public hearings on this, I know, and so it would be up to Mr. Holden. Well, we'll go call Mr. Fuhr first.
Well, actually, I'd recommend the following, John, if we could. Let's do 5 minutes on each side. Let's get Mr. Malloy and other relevant staff here. Ms. Chick called it special. I'm happy to follow her, and then I'll present my minority report, and Nate can do his majority if he likes.
I'd like to listen to staff and see which is the best lead-in.
I don't know who's against proposal. Okay, Lois Arkin. Mabel, Michael, Lois Arkin, you go ahead.
Okay, you ready for me, huh? Hi. Dear council members, my name is Lois Arkin. I live in the Wilshire Center Koreatown redevelopment area and represent a 2-block neighborhood in that area. I sit on the Community Advisory Committee of the Wilshire Center Koreatown redevelopment area. And I have lived and worked in that area for 20 years. I have argued on many occasions over the past few years.
We want to point out that we have a 5-minute public hearing on each side, and there are several on each side, so please...
I'm sorry. I am in favor of the motion. We need to preserve the McKinley Building. We need to really put our energies into preserving our sense of place in this area. Thank you very much, and I have an information sheet for you.
Okay, Michael... Michael McKeel, whatever your name is. Print it a little easier next time.
Good morning. My name is Michael McKeel. I'm an architect, and I'm working with Richard Rand, one of the developers who have made offers to purchase the McKinley Building. I'm also chairman of the Whitley Heights HPOZ. We are experts in the repair and construction of this kind of building. My firm is on call with the state of California to work on similar buildings, and we've worked with the Los Angeles School District and UCLA on seismic retrofits. Many of you have seen the building, and you probably think the repair is hopeless. But let me tell you that as a professional, we see this kind of damage all the time. It is predictable and it is repairable. I can see through the trash and the vandalism and the cracked plaster and see that the building is actually in remarkably good condition. In order to establish the real cost of repair of this building, I've inspected the building with my engineers and contractor, met with the Department of Building and Safety to check the code requirements, done our own engineering, and established a scope of work for the building. We now have a firm bid of $2.2 million to repair this building. That is what we expected from our experience, and that is what the Department of Building and Safety estimated. This is 1/3 of the cost of the estimate in the EIR. Now you're probably asking yourself, how can there be such a vast difference between an estimate and a construction bid? So we went through it very carefully, line item by line item, and here's some of the things we found. The very first line of the cost estimate in the EIR has a $750,000 mistake. An inflated tenant improvement allowance is multiplied by almost twice the actual floor area. As though that were not bad enough, the cost estimate then goes on to itemize $145,000 in carpeting and T-bar ceilings and $125,000 for kitchen equipment. The same mistake was made with the seismic retrofitting. A unit price far in excess of typical earthquake repair costs is multiplied by a floor area 10,000 square feet larger than the entire building. There's an additional $470,000 worth of shotcrete, which our engineers do not believe is necessary at all. $129,000 for concrete caissons, which are not necessary because it turns out that the MTA construction is actually 90
Michael,
feet away.
you're going to take all the time?
No, I'm just about done. And that, it goes on down the line like that with mistakes in the EIR. I think you get the picture. The demolition of this landmark building is not necessary. There are other options. The EIR is flawed, and you must vote to review it. Thank you.
Okay, Jack Rubin, and it might be the only one left. Timmy.
I'm sorry, how much time do I have?
You got a minute, and that'd be the end of it.
My name is Jack Rubens. I'm the president of the Los Angeles Conservancy, and I'm here today representing them. You've received a lot of information from the owner's representatives regarding the property, the McKinley building, and much of it, unfortunately, is misinformation. So I'd like to take a few moments to try to separate the fact from the fiction here. Fiction. The building is beyond repair. It will cost $8.4 million to rehabilitate. It's an eyesore. It can't be saved. Fact. Of course it can be saved. Usually when it is typical that developers who wish to demolish historic buildings will present grossly inflated estimates of the cost to rehabilitate a building. But that falls apart here because, as you already know, there is significant developer interest in this property. We have developers ready to put down money today, a deposit to go forward with the purchase of the property. The CRA has received $2.3 million from the MTA, and they're prepared to move forward today to acquire that property or help a developer to acquire it. The money's in the bank. This building can be repaired. I could cite hundreds of examples to you of other buildings in worse shape than this one that have been rehabilitated, but I'll just offer one to you. Right across the street is the Wiltern Theater. 15 years ago, that building was in a state of disrepair. There was a hue and cry for its demolition. It was in far worse shape than the McKinley building.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Thank you very much.
We only have 10 minutes on each side. There's Richard Rand. We'll just make your part of the file. Okay, Ben Resnick, and then Robert Lerner and James Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, members of the council. Ben Resnick with Dr. Larner here. Thank you, first of all, for your attention to this very, very important issue for Dr. Larner. May I remind you that in December of 1994, we stood here after Dr. Larner indicated that the building was not feasible to save, economically not viable. At that point in time, we had a long debate. The Conservancy came in with its forces, and they asked us to do one thing and one thing only. They said, do an EIR, because that's the law, and we don't want to set a bad precedent. The council in January of 1995 told us, do an EIR. You told Dr. Larner, do the EIR to determine whether it's economically viable. We have done that. Dr. Larner followed your direction. He followed the law, followed the rules. He did not challenge it in court. He chose to play by the rules. He spent over $300,000 doing the EIR, which the city did independently. The EIR concluded conclusively this building is not economically viable to save. Building and Safety certified that. That was appealed to the Board of Building and Safety by the Conservancy and its proponents. The board upheld the EIR. The EIR is now final. The council did not review that. The city's document says this building is not economically viable. It's not our misinformation, it's the city's documents. If you have any questions about the veracity of the EIR, the preparer of the EIR is here today, as are the people involved. Now, Dr. Larner is being given a Hobson's choice today. He's being told, either you sell your property to these people who are saying they want to buy it, or you'll be condemned. Either way, you're not going to get to do what you are entitled to do with your property, which is to build it. And I suggest to the city that taking that posture has its legal risks. And that is really an issue at this point in time that's just not fair. 3 years you kept Dr. Larner in the process, and now, last minute, potential designation of his building as a historical monument. What would be served by that? All you get when you're a historical building is the right to analyze whether it's feasible to protect it. Well, you've done that. You've spent 3 years doing that. The city's done the analysis. The city's came to a conclusion. Unfortunately, some people don't like the conclusion and are throwing another roadblock, and there'll be other roadblocks. Don't get suckered into being the puppet for those who want to designate it. If they want to designate the building, let them do it themselves. They want you to step in and nominate the building. so that you can shelter them, so you can be the people out front to say this is of historical worth. You could have done that 3 years ago. You could have done it 2 years ago. But no one then decided to not designate this building. And I suggest this is a bad faith designation at the last minute, intended to do nothing more than take away Dr. Larner's rights. Dr. Larner.
Thank you. Let me say as briefly as I can. I purchased the McKinley building 30 years ago as a lifetime investment, and in fact put it into my estate 10 years ago. I never planned to sell it all through the years, and I still have no wish to do so. I always took good care of it, but unfortunately the Metro Rail construction and the January '94 earthquake inflicted irreparable damage to the structure. Since then, it has been a shell with a shattered foundation, 4 broken, unreinforced masonry walls, and a totally destroyed interior. Preservation has been studied thoroughly, even exhaustively, for the last 4 years. The first year by myself with 5 different engineers plus other experts, all of whom concluded separately and independently that the building was beyond repair, not economically feasible, dangerous, and should be demolished. The next 3 years, the city studied it under the EIR process, went through the whole business. Everybody got their chance to put their input. They approved it. The Board of Building and Safety Commissioners approved it over the appeal by the Conservancy unanimously. And the permit has been ready to issue now for the last 2 months. All I can say is that next week I'm going to have a milestone. I'll be 80 years old. This building has been a very stressful experience for the last 4 years. It's taken its toll on my health and my retirement fund, and I say, please, enough is enough. It's time for closure. Thank you.
The time is over, so we'll close the public hearing. We have two committees on, 2 reports on this. We have the majority report, the minority report, and I'm going to call upon Mr. Holden on the majority report first.
What was this? This is number 11.
Okay, Mr. Fuhrer, Mr. Holden refrains from speaking, which is quite unusual.
He only postponed the moment, John. Let's not relish it too much. First, Mr. Malloy, can you come to the center table? After the motion was introduced, it was referred to my committee. And I came to this question without a bias one way or the other, and I've been grappling with it very intensely ever since. There's a basic question before us, and that is it affordable to rehabilitate this building or not? That's what is at the core of our agenda today. Because there is agreement that there is cultural historical significance to this building. And it's been, other organizations have so said. The discussion that we've just heard from the owner of the property is predicated on a key assumption. It's too darn expensive to rehab this building, and the offer on the table, the hard cash offer on the table from a purchaser who wants to preserve the building, is predicated on a different assumption, that it is affordable to rehabilitate the building, and the offerer, Mr. Rand, is prepared to bet his money on it, $2.5 million worth. So what do we do in this situation? The CRA is here. They are going to buy the property. They're either going to, they want to have the property bought. They're either going to be a partner with Mr. Rand if he is a successful purchaser, or they're going to move forward through eminent domain to purchase the property. Either way, there is going to be fair market value paid to Dr. Larner for the property. If you accept the premises I've just put on the table, the question is, should we preserve this building as this purchase of the property moves forward and assure that it is given a good shot at being rehabilitated, or should we allow the building to be demolished now? I don't think we should allow the building to be demolished now. The Conservancy, which is the key proponent at the beginning of this process, although now I think that it's a good idea as well, the Conservancy comes on board and they say, given the offer that's on the table, if after the offer has either gone and become a sale or not in 6 months, they'll back off. So it is the equivalent of saying there's a demolition opportunity out there if after 6 months it can't be rehabilitated. For 6 months then, with a cash offer on the table, no lending required, we have the opportunity to have that finally evaluated with a guy who's going to lose money if he can't, because he also has in his offer a deposit that's non-refundable. In that setting, I think we have little to lose and a great deal to gain from the standpoint of good public policy and preservation of a sense of place in this city by allowing the building to stand for this period. And let's move forward and recognize that a purchase will happen. Shouldn't the purchase happen at fair market value? You bet. Mr. Rand has prepared that. In fact, yesterday, when I was trying to provide some mediation between Mr. Resnick and Mr. Rand, Mr. Resnick saying no offer is good enough, Mr. Rand is saying, look, you supply the appraiser, and whatever that appraiser says, we'll pay. The money shouldn't be the issue either. So in that setting, we have an opportunity to preserve a sense of place. We have the opportunity to leverage the CRA money by a private owner who's going to come in and rehabilitate the property and is betting his nickel that it can be rehabilitated, notwithstanding what we've heard so far. We should adopt the prudent public policy of letting the building stand. It's a building that should be allowed to stand and should only be demolished only if it's not affordable to do it. People with real money are betting it is.
All right, Mrs. Chick, you wanted to be heard as the maker of the motion?
Yes, colleagues, I introduced this motion because on prior occasions and earlier actions, this council had indicated a strong interest in the fate of this building, and I felt it was very important for us to fully contemplate what the EIR said, to perhaps in light of the fact that so many years have gone by, to take a look at, have there been changes in the situation that would change also our thinking and our actions on this building. Dr. Leiner is a constituent of mine, he and his wife, and there is no question but that he is a caring person, an involved citizen, that he bought this building in good faith, that he had no idea that these events, earthquake, MTA construction, were going to happen. And there's no question but that he's had a period of great uncertainty about what he was or could do with the property. But I think the issue before us is about something much bigger than is someone a good person and have they had some aggravation and uncertainty, and I'm looking to give him certainty. But I'm also painfully aware that we live in a city that is known for its knock it down, build them bigger and better history and philosophy still today. That I live in a city where I grew up and the landmarks of my generation are basically all gone. You can't go back and take a look at a building where you grew up or a business that you used to go to because it's gone. And so I came to this with two biases. One, deep respect for private property rights and not wanting to be engaged in a taking or something unrealistic that we are asking a property owner to give his property away for the good of the community and historic preservation. But I came also with the bias of feeling that we have got to do a great deal more, and a great deal is too late to do, but going forward to preserve pieces of our history for future generations of people who live here. And I think what is before us, and what you have heard the chair of that committee say in his minority report, is this is not pie in the sky. This is a real and viable offer to rehabilitate and preserve this building, protecting Dr. Liner's property rights. And I think it behooves us to go forward with the recommendation that we have just heard.
All right.
Just one last remark, please. What we have before us is really conflicting information from credible, upstanding people. And we're being asked to decide which set of figures are real, which is the truth. And I'm going to err to the side of giving another attempt, and it sounds like a very real one, to preserve this building.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Holden with the majority report.
Will you hold my time because I want the EIR report. We have Ms. Wendy Lockwood and Mr. Hadar Plathkin. They did the EIR. So Ms. Lockwood, you come forward, please, and then they give their report on the other side, and I think then the majority report will be presented.
All right.
Go ahead, ma'am. Sit down. Proceed. Would you speak on the EIR?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me we'll talk about this, all right?
Do we start?
Jimmy Jungle.
Okay. The EIR was begun in, I guess, 1995. We prepared an evaluation of the McKinley building based on the historic resources described the building. We went to a contractor and asked him to provide us a bid on rehabilitation of the building, independent of any other information. We just wanted an itemized list of what it would cost to repair the building. That's what we presented in the EIR. Then we asked an economic consultant to provide a pro forma of the income that could be expected from renting the building, and asked them to compare that to the price of rehabilitation of the building, and that analysis is presented in the EIR. In the comment period, we received comments from a variety of sources, including the Conservancy, which brought up the issue of tax credits. We redid the pro forma, and that information is provided in the EIR. The bottom line was that the cost to repair the building, assuming that all codes need to be complied with, including ADA, including every building and safety code, was approximately $7.6 million. Now, in talking to Building and Safety, it was clear that some of the codes may not need to be fully complied with, but we were not able to get a firm answer as to which codes could be accepted for this building. So absolutely, the building may not cost $7.6 million to repair, but the $7.6 million number is to comply with every single code. The pro forma, I think if you look at that, came up with costs in excess of $3.3 million would not be financially feasible for the building to support itself. We worked with Hadar in preparing the EIR. He's the city's coordinator, and with Building and Safety, and the report was finished in late 1996.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Hadar Plofkin, Environmental Review Section for the Planning Department. We coordinated the EIR for Building and Safety. We evaluated it as the environmental impacts of destroying or demolishing a historic structure. And we determined that, yes, it would be a significant impact if it were demolished. The costs of repairing the building were, even in the EIR, disputed both by Building and Safety, by the Conservancy, by Dr. Larner's appraisers. and there was a range of different costs that would have been involved depending on the extent of the rehabilitation that would have been required. From our perspective, as an environmental impact, that was irrelevant except for as it dealt with the feasibility of the alternative of preserving it, and that we were not in a position to determine. We left that to Building and Safety as to whether these cost estimates were valid, and their feeling were that yes, the cost estimates that were presented were valid.
Okay, all right, Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, this matter of the McKinley Building has been before us many times. The council has taken action on requiring the building owner to do an EIR upon the request to demolish. Prior to that, the building owner on his own spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to get someone to restore the building after the earthquake damage. On his own, because he loved the building. He bought it 30 years ago. He's already testified they wanted to keep it in his estate and keep it in a way that it could still be used. That was impossible. He got no help from the Conservancy of anyone. That was a good faith effort on his part. And now the time has come, Mr. President and members, to concur with the recommendation of the Building and Safety Commission after reviewing the EIR to say grant the demolition permit which they have signed off on. CRA signed off on it because it's in their area. There's no reason to delay this matter any further. It's nothing more, in my view, and it's already been stated, than a stalling tactic. There's been some discussion that someone wants to make an offer to buy the building. They would like to just tie it up for another 18 months. It's nothing more than an offer. It's not a valid offer. The gentleman who spoke and saying he was an architect came to see me 3 years after the fact. In fact, he spent 1 hour in the building, whereas Dr. Lerner's people spent many, many more hours doing a complete analysis of the building as what's required in order to make it safe again to sustain another earthquake of that magnitude. That's a good faith effort. I would say to you, Mr. President and members, that we've just dragged this on too far. And it's not a Nate Holden's project. And I want you to know is no skin off my back which way you go on this. It's Dr. Lerner is the one who's been punished continuously. It's just unfair for someone to take advantage of some open door opportunity to stall this project, the demolition project, any further, is outright shameful and it's wrong. It's misusing the authority that's been granted to the Conservancy. I mean, I can understand we all voted of the Catholic Church. That was move, because I guess we wanted to satisfy some people. I voted for it also. But this was not a rush job at all. Over 3 years. It's just unfair what this council tonight, just by having it today, what this whole process has done to Dr. Lerner and to his belief that you can come to City Hall and get your problem solved and you get a fair consideration. What they're doing is not fair. And I just say to you, Mr. President, we ought to join with business people on the Wilshire Boulevard. The owner of the theater, the Wilton Theater, Rackerich, is saying demolish. The Wilshire Chamber of Commerce is saying demolish. Demolish this building. That's what they are saying. We have letters to that effect, and you have copies of them. Because it's not contributing anything but an unsafe environment. This building is a nuisance. And if we were not having the argument about a historical monument of some sort, we would be going to the owner of the building saying, demolish it, it's a nuisance, it's an unsafe in our community. Each of you would say say just that in your own district. I mean, I'm just tired of fighting and arguing over this thing. You've just worn me out. So I'm just going to say, hey, vote no on the minority report. If that's the first one before you, vote yes on the majority report.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Burnson.
Yes, members of the council, I too have been involved in this a little bit. In fact, I seconded the motion originally. And I did that after looking at some of the pictures of this building when it was in its glory. And it was, let me tell you, that it was a beautiful building. There's no question about that. And I certainly felt that anything that was that nice and of that era should be saved. However, I took the time to go down and go through that building. And I don't mean just from the outside. I went through that building store by store, through the courtyard, through every aspect of that particular building. And I came away with a feeling, of a very sad feeling, because I felt it was sad that it had gotten to that shape. This building was not only seismically damaged severely, and I'm not just talking about cracked plaster, because cracked plaster can be replaced and replastered, but the building was virtually stripped of every fixture. I mean, you have no idea until you go down and see it. And frankly, I still feel that, it was a great building, but I don't believe, first of all, I may not believe either set of figures. I'm presuming that maybe Dr. Larner's figures are a little high on the $8 million. I'm presuming that the people who are trying so hard to stop this are fudging a little bit too. I don't know. I won't say that as an accusation, but I'm saying that I think as people anticipate or would like to present a strong picture. But even if it's in the middle, let's say that it's $6 million or $5.5. Is it economically viable to spend that money on the building, and will it be able to economically support itself on rentals that you can anticipate in this area? In my opinion, it is not. Now, that's my opinion, but I've been doing this for a while, and I know a little bit about property values, and having spent a lot of time in the retail business, I know a little bit about rental values. And I really think that this is a very tough case, because I can understand why the people who are in the Conservancy, who are dedicated to preserve property in the city, I understand where they're coming from. I just don't think that it is really the right case here. And I think, I hate to think that we take a piece of property away from somebody that's owned it for that many years, and without actually being able to feasibly support itself. And that's my opinion. I understand there's a late offer now. My understanding was there was a previous offer supposedly on the table. There was an option. We would tie the property up for 18 months. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But, we get these things all the time when it comes to things like this. There's a last-minute offer, but the day or a couple days before we're going to vote on the thing. Well, I'm very suspicious of those kinds of offers, and I hope that we will not approve this motion today, because I can't support the motion that I originally seconded, because I felt the same way the Conservancy did, looking at the pictures. But the pictures and reality are not the same thing today. And I have to support, much as I begrudgingly have to support Mr. Holden, I begrudgingly have to support Mr. Holden today, but he's right. This is a case where I think it's too late, and I really don't think it's going to work out financially, and I'm not going to be able to support it.
Okay, Ms. Galanter.
Everybody hates to lose an interesting old building, and clearly this is one of those, but I think we've already lost it. And I have to say I share Mr. Bernson's concern about an offer. Suddenly it's financially viable, but the gentleman who owns it has been trying to find some way to save it, some way to repair it for a number of years now. He's put out a lot of his own money. And I just don't think it's fair to leave him saddled with the liability, the tax burdens, or the burden of paperwork of trying to prove that he shouldn't have to pay taxes and get a lower assessment. This has gone on for long enough, and what can I say? It's one of those things that has no good answer, but I'm very concerned about offers that suddenly become real and viable on the last day after 4 years of taking hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to find out and reaching the conclusion that it's not viable.
All right. Mr. Hernandez.
I just I need to ask Mr. Malloy what CRA's intentions are with the site.
Very briefly, the project's in the Wilshire Center Koreatown redevelopment project area. We were asked to sign off on the demolition permit, which I, after reviewing the situation with legal counsel, did sign off on the agency's approval of the demolition permit because there was essentially no legal basis on which for us to deny going forward with that demolition permit. One of the biggest priorities in the Wilshire Center Koreatown project area is the development of the areas around the MTA stations that are being built and have been built in that area. And we did apply for funding to MTA to help us with the development of this particular site, which surrounds the MTA station at Wilshire and Western. A grant was approved by the MTA to help the agency with the acquisition of that site. We had specified in our original application many months ago that we would attempt to preserve the building if we could using those funds. However, the primary purpose of the grant that we received was to get the site around the MTA station developed. And we believe that if necessary, we would go back to MTA and amend the grant if the building were to be demolished, because we still want the funds to help us develop that site. With respect to the financial dynamics of the preservation of the building, it is our opinion, and we agree with the financial analysts essentially that performed in the EIR, that the after rehabilitation value of this building is going to be about $3 million, right in that range. Under either proposal, under either the RAND proposal, which is the late proposal that just came out, or Dr. Larner's findings in the EIR, in order to preserve this building, the city and the MTA and the CRA would have to stand prepared to put a very substantial subsidy into this project. Because under anyone's estimates, you're looking at least $5 to $6 million to deliver the product. And if Dr. Larner's estimates are correct, you're probably looking at something substantially more than that. I tend to agree with Mr. Burnson that I think some of the estimates have come in low, and some of them have been shaded a little bit high. Unfortunately, the agency has not had the opportunity in any of this proceedings to prepare independent cost estimates from either side. So we're dealing with, again, this range of cost estimates. But I will tell you that under either assumption, even if you accept the very low rehabilitation estimates, we had better stand prepared to deeply subsidize this project in order to make it work. Well, if Mr. Rand's cost estimates are correct, we think the project would run between the acquisition and the rehab probably in the $5 million range. Right, right. The question was,
Mr. Fuhrer will have an opportunity to ask you questions.
Yeah.
But Mr. Hernandez, you haven't spoken now.
Okay, I get my 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. President. And it's my understanding at this point, and correct me if I'm wrong, if the building is demolished, is there any concept of what's going to go in its place?
It has always been our intention in conjunction with the MTA to attempt to get a full-scale development on this site with or without the preservation of that building. And so if the building is demolished, we would, in concert with the MTA, proceed with a request for proposals to solicit a development proposal on that site.
And you'd be working with the current owners?
Yes. Under the agency's rules, the existing owners have to be given the opportunity to participate in that kind of an RFP and that kind of a development.
Okay. You know, members of the council, I want to continue to listen to this debate. I think it's... you know, I keep on saying when we talk about preservation of our historic structures, this is structure 1927, we're talking 1997, 70 years old, and it's not like we're Greece. You know, the reality is, I think preservation is extremely important. I just came back from Philadelphia, and I was amazed at what that city has done with some of its buildings. but I haven't seen that kind of will out of the city of Los Angeles. Because in Philadelphia, they really have done a lot with their historic buildings, but it has taken a commitment, it has taken subsidies, it has taken, basically, the historic nature of the city is extremely important to that city. And I haven't seen that kind of will coming out of Los Angeles. One of the concerns I have is the site I have in my own district, the Vandicap site, and the reality how we did fight to preserve the facade, and what that preservation of that facade has done to potential development of that site, versus what has happened to it over time frames and what's happened at the site in terms of crime and the Blythe and so forth. Here you have a metro station already in place. We have a subway that goes to that destination already in place. And the question becomes, how soon do we want to see something functional on that site?
Ms. Sikowski, Mrs. Chick, would you press your button again? And Mr. Fuhrer?
I have some questions for the staff. Mr. Plotkin, you said that the disputed cost of restoration were not relevant to the EIR except as it addressed the issue of feasibility, how feasible were the alternatives and the alternatives of preserving the building. When the EIR was done, was it known that the MTA was giving a grant to the CRA for this site and for the potential restoration of this site?
No, it was not.
Was it known at that time that there were offers on the table, legitimate offers, not just options, but offers on the table coupled with the MTA money that make this site potentially within reach of feasible restoration and preservation, no matter whose figures you take?
No, we did not know about that
Okay,
either.
so that is new information that seemed not to have been available at that time, even though costs were disputed previously. Another issue, I think I just heard Mr. Malloy answer, and that is, when I met with Dr. Larner, one of the things that was very obvious and very sincere on this project is the long-term family ownership of this, that this has been a family piece of property, it's now in the trust. It's not something that I think he wants to let go of, and rightfully so. So I would be very concerned about, with offers on the table, whether or not the CRA, is there anything to preclude working with him and the offers on the table to make sure that he stays a part of both the preservation of this and the ultimate redevelopment of this property?
We stand prepared to work with Dr. Larner individually, Dr. Larner in concert with a partner that he may care to take on, or if this comes to pass, a new owner of the property, and we stand prepared to work with it.
There was one other issue that had been raised previously, I don't think I've heard it today, and that is that because of some of the condition of the property, both with the vagrants, with some of the cracks by both earthquake and MTA construction, that Dr. Larner, as he continues to own the property, had some concern about liability were something to happen. And Mr. Malloy, did I understand that the CRA would be able to go in immediately to negotiate a position so that that risk that he now is carrying as we move forward on this property could be assumed by the CRA or some other entity in the very near future?
If we were sitting here with willing participants, with everyone working with us to attempt to preserve this building, I think we could quickly move in and deal with the liability issues that are the concern there.
All right. Let me just sum up, Mr. President. I think, as Mr. Hernandez indicated, there has to be a will in this city for preservation to change the culture of the tear-down society that LA is known for. I think there is new information that was made available since the EIR was done, and indicates what Mr. Hernandez says, that standing alone this property may not be feasible, but with the subsidy, and we have the MTA and the CRA both involved in this, that we can put together a way to preserve this property, preserve it and keep it in the ownership of the present owner. And I think we have to explore that extra effort just at this point in terms of what the minority report is suggesting.
Thank you. Mr. Wax?
Mr. President, members of council, Mr. Hernandez is right in decrying the fact that this city has not done a good job in preserving its worthy past. And the reason is because there really isn't a commitment on the part of most people in City Hall, including this City Council, to do that. More people here care about the owners of the property than they do about the importance and the long-term value of preserving our historic monuments. And if that weren't so, we would have done better. We have one of the weakest laws in the country. Most cities have much tougher laws than we, not most, but many big cities have much tougher laws than we do that go to assuring that our historic monuments are protected. In this case, we have a golden opportunity. We have a building that can be preserved and, better yet, can be adapted to a new use so that it becomes a living monument, not just some museum type thing, where people can use it and function in it. These are the very kinds of buildings we want to preserve and integrate into our urban fabric. And the CRA, which should be a leader in this, is doing everything but dragging its feet on it to try to keep it from happening. You'll end up tearing the building down and still giving subsidies for a new building. You watch. As sure as night follows day. Now here you have a chance to preserve the building, adapt it to a new use, tie it into a neighborhood to give some fabric and quality to it, and still make sure the man must get his fair value for it, or in the option participates in it himself with a subsidy to preserve it rather than a subsidy to put something new on there. And the fact is, you all been lobbied, and they feel sorry, and you don't want to, you value more that than you do saving the land and the building. And that's why LA is as it is, and as long as those values stay in the city, that's what it'll be. And if there's a true commitment to doing all we can, then some will go because some can't. But a lot more will be saved. And this is a perfect opportunity to try to save something if you want to.
Mrs. Chick. Mrs. Chick.
If it seems we're down to, the key issue is, as I said before, kind of which set of figures do you believe? If we don't have 8 votes to support the minority report, colleagues, this building will be down and gone probably within a couple of days. Some of my colleagues have, I think, very clearly focused on what is before us. And I think we all take seriously the issue of respecting private property rights and not wanting the city to be involved in a taking. The reason that this offer has come so last minute is because the property owner has not been interested in engaging in serious conversation with other persons who might have wanted to buy the property. Mr. Malloy, I would like you to just clarify for us, and I very much realize how under siege you are and pulled in a variety of directions on this issue. But we need to look to you for as expert, professional, and objective advice as possible. When you say there will be a city subsidy, are you talking about the money that the MTA has already specifically designated for the development of this property?
The after rehabilitation value, we agree with Cosmont and Associates that the after rehabilitation value of this building is going to be plus or minus $3 million.
And do we have the MTA money set aside for that right now?
Now, under either set of estimates, Mr. Rand's estimates or Dr. Larner's estimates, the cost to acquire and rehabilitate the building is going to be substantially in excess of $3 million, the value, which will be pertained after the rehabilitation is completed. If Mr. Rand's estimates are correct, we may not need to go beyond the subsidy of the MTA dollars which have already been allocated for this project. If Dr. Larner's estimates are correct, we may have to add additional funds into that mix in order to subsidize the project even further. That will only come out in the course of negotiations between the development team, whether it's Dr. Larner or Dr. Larner and a partner or a new team, and the agency ultimately to develop that site. There may be a way, in my opinion, to provide for additional density elsewhere on the site the larger one-block area.
Because there's a lot of land that is not being used
Correct.
by the building in question.
And through that mechanism, provide an internal subsidy to the rehabilitation. All of those things are things that we would have to sit down in close negotiation with the development team to work through. My opinion, this is not an economic project without a subsidy. We are going to need a subsidy.
Which is why MTA
Okay,
has already committed to that. May I just,
Let's wrap it up because your time is up.
colleagues, I would, because I think we need to go forward with the minority report to get the information that we're hearing about from Mr. Malloy.
Okay.
And yes, there's been a long period of time, but this is worth, and there's money on the table to reimburse Dr. Larner for any further delay. I would like to propose an amendment, however, that I would like considered after the minority and majority report, and that is that if we don't proceed with the minority report today, that at the very least then I thereby move that the CRA agency prepare within 30 days, and that's a very short timeline, an independent evaluation of the various cost estimates to rehabilitate the McKinley building and an independent appraisal of the McKinley building property, which is
All right, thank you.
information we don't have yet.
Mrs. Walters. Nate, push your button.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Malloy, the buildings on 7th Street that I understand the Conservancy is preventing from being demolished and cleaned up, those buildings between Olive and Grand that are boarded up and where homeless break in and set fires and what have you, across from the athletic club. How long have they been there?
I mean, the buildings themselves were built, to my knowledge.
No, but I mean in the current state, how long have they been there?
I believe at least 5 or 6 years in that state.
Have they been declared historic buildings?
I can't remember on a building-by-building basis. I think some of them have.
Well, it's my understanding that that designation is not free from doubt as to whether they're truly historic buildings, but that the Conservancy wanted to maintain some of the old buildings downtown. Has the Conservancy offered the agency any money to help assist with what has become a terrible blight on 7th Street?
We have not seen anything come forward in that way.
All right. What about St. Vibiana's? Has the Conservancy offered any assistance or come to you with any real money for that?
Money, no, although they've offered to assist us in locating potential developers for the site, that type of thing.
Oh, a search.
Yeah.
The business constituents of mine on West 7th Street feel that those buildings there, in the condition that they are, at the direct behest of the Conservancy, are a blight on the community and detract from their businesses. The athletic club feels that its members are affected by that, and it's unsightly and downright unseemly for those to be allowed to stand. And you said they'd been there about 7 or 8 years. They were there when I came to office, and they're still there, and are still a problem, as I understand it, to the agency.
Yeah,
so, council members, I would, that's experience in the 9th District with Conservancy properties, and they are fond of saying, but we saved the library. Yes, they saved the library, but it was the city's money that, and the CRA's money that did it. And I'm concerned about the taking of a property from a gentleman. He has told us he's 80 years old, and some of us may, be able to blithely say, although it's not certain when anybody will experience their demise, but for some time is not as urgent as others. And council members, I would really suggest that we take a hard look at this and move forward and allow this to be the owner to do what he will with his own property. He's been tied up now for 3 or 4 years.
Mr. Alatorre?
Could I ask a real simple question? Everybody's talking about how, important this building is, culturally, historically, and everything else. Can somebody tell me, has this been declared a historical landmark? Has it been nominated for a historical landmark? Has any of these things happened in the last 4 years?
It was determined eligible by
Yeah.
during the MTA study of the Wilshire corridor.
Has
to be
anybody
eligible for the
moved
National
beyond
Register.
that to do anything on this building?
No.
All right. See, let me tell you the credibility problem I have, all right? Is that if in fact it is what it is, all right, long time ago, something should have been done on it, all right? Now, this has been with us for a significant period of time. And the argument has always been that this is a very important building. It's historically significant. Look at how beautiful it is in the light. Fact of the matter is nobody did anything to move in that direction, all right? Now, the MTA study, I saw how we abandoned him on the end after we did the MTA study, because then we decided that it was going to cost too much money, so we just decided that we're going to purchase other property around it, and we left this man holding the bag on that. So, I have some real credibility problems with, people at the end saying how beautiful this building is and anything else, and nothing ever being done about it. And this is already going on 4 years, and who knows? I mean, if it was significant 4 years ago or now, it certainly was significant, 10 years ago. But nothing is done. But it's always whenever there is something that is going to be done with a building, all of a sudden we want to declare because we want to stop anything from happening. Well, that's wrong. That is absolutely wrong. And, I think there'd be more credibility to the argument about the historic nature of the building and everything else if somebody had taken an affirmative action to do something about it. Nobody did, but now they want to do it, and they would deprive this man after he's been jacked around for I don't know how many years by the city of Los Angeles. And all of a sudden, we want to say, well, let's declare a historical landmark. That's incorrect. I'd ask for a aye vote on the majority committee report.
Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we're going through this debate, I think, this is about, there are principles at stake here and there are practical issues here. Let me talk about the principles at stake here first. This is about whether we value a sense of place in this city or not, whether we value the cultural richness of our city or not, and whether we place a value on the history of our city or not. But as we've been discussing, oftentimes, values have a price, and the question has been, as I began this discussion with, whether the price in this instance is reasonable or not. And here we are. Offer on the table, 2.5. Malloy says it's going to cost $5 million or so to rehab the building. He's kicking in 2.3. I'm saying to the developer who's got this offer on the table, and it is, after all, an offer. It is not the end of the line. There's a negotiation that could ensue. The developer has said to Dr. Larner, you choose the appraiser, I'll pay whatever he or she says. All right, so that's not at stake here. Once escrow closes, it's not a matter, there's a specter being raised here of the city coffers being at stake and an open checkbook on the table. Once escrow closes, it's Mr. Rand's problem. It's not this, the CRA says our 2.3 is fixed. He's kicked in his money. If there's a shortfall, it is his problem at that point. Don't be misled to suggest otherwise. The thing that has concerned me as I've been shepherding this through committee is this. The argument has been made, it's taken a long time, there's no offer on the table and so forth. But Richard, in committee, if I hadn't directed that Dr. Larner open his property for the first time to anybody to come look at it who might be interested in buying it, it wouldn't have happened. And that direction was given, and that finally was taken up in December. Friends, it is the middle of January. It was opened in December only after I made it happen. If it hadn't happened, and then we have this game about whether there's an offer or not. And advocates for the developer say, for Dr. Larner say, well, there's no hard offer. So there's a hard offer. Now the name of the game is, we're never going to sell, no matter what the price is. Do we have a price here that's reasonable? Yes. Do we have a team relationship that can evolve between the developer who's proposing to buy it and the CRA? You bet. Is there an open-ended city commitment for paying funds? No way. It's fixed at 2.3. Any other risk is borne by the guy who's proposing to buy it now. There is a price for our values. We can meet that price here. Do we value what we say we value or merely give it lip service? This matter is a test of that principle, of that question, and I urge support for the motion and for the minority report.
Mr. Alarcon.
I think more than anything else, I value treating people with dignity, and I don't recall an issue where I have really had to do an assessment of trusting who the owner is more than on this issue. I sent my staff out yesterday to look at the site, to walk through the building. Clearly, it's a beautiful building. At one time, at least, it was beautiful, but it's in gross deterioration. And I have to make an assessment of whether I believe that Dr. Lerner is a good person or not and is trying to do the right thing with his property. And I have assessed that Dr. Lerner is a good person who has contributed many things to the city of Los Angeles by virtue of his investments. And I also believe that he's been fair in that history of investing into the city of Los Angeles. And I think it is unfair for us to ask him to try and make an investment into this deteriorated building work. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I supported the original motion to explore the feasibility of this designation. But given the deterioration, given the effort of Dr. Lerner to try and make money at this site, and given the difficulty and the continuous flow of additional investment that he's had to put into this, I just don't think it's the right thing to do to Dr. Lerner. I think he has earned the right to develop this site as he believes would be appropriate, and I think it's great that we have a preservation program, and I support it, and I supported the review of this, but I think at the same time we have to be conscious of what impacts we are causing to individuals. In this case, I don't think Dr. Lerner deserves to be treated like this.
Ms. Galanter.
Thank you. I want to ask questions of several different people because there's several different questions. Let me start with Mr. Malloy. If, let us say, hypothetically, the building were sold, let's say Dr. Lerner agreed to sell and Mr. Rand agreed to buy, and Mr. Rand bought the building. What would CRA or MTA have to subsidize? Now we have a new owner. What would you have to subsidize?
It is our opinion that the building without subsidy is economically unfeasible, and that you would...
Right, but if he says it's feasible, I mean, he's saying to us, it's feasible, I can repair it, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to fix it, then...
But he has also said to us that he would need our assistance in the acquisition and repair.
I see. Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. All right, now, it's been suggested, and Mr. Rand's letter says that he's making an offer, but he wants 90 days from the opening of escrow to determine whether the... Mr. Rand, I may need you for this one. Come on up for a second. And then I'm going to need Mr. Resnick for a minute. Your letter says that your offer indicates that you would then need 90 days to make this assessment about whether you really want to go through with buying it or not, whether it really is feasible. And I read it, so you don't have to, there's not a question there. The question is, if you've already determined that it's feasible, why do you need 90 days? Why couldn't you do it in a week, let's say?
Well, he has also said to us that he would need our assistance in the acquisition and repair.
Why do you need 90 days? Why couldn't you do it in a week, let's say? Why couldn't you do it in a week, let's say?
I've retained an architect, and he's retained a series of engineers and professional people that are in the trade that have done an initial assessment. We have an initial due diligence process that's been complete, and that was about 3 weeks ago, which was the first time we were allowed into the building. But it would be a mistake to not go further down the step and to have the architect and these people verify again and have more time in the building to make
Okay,
sure
so,
this
all right,
works.
so your conclusion, you haven't reached a conclusion, you've reached that it's economically feasible and that you're ready to buy. You've reached the conclusion that you're not convinced it's not economically feasible. Is that a fair
we have
statement?
actual written bids that we received as a result of these inspections, and we've reached the initial conclusion that it makes sense, or I wouldn't be here right now, that it is
Right,
economically
but that's
viable
why,
today.
okay, all right, thank you. I think you've answered what I need to hear
Okay.
from you. Now I need a question for Mr. Resnick. Is Mr. Resnick still here?
Oh.
Ben? Mr. Resnick, I need you up here, please.
But can I say one other thing, too?
Well, wait till I get, you're on my time now, so wait till we get done with him. It's been alleged here several times that Dr. Larner refused to allow potential interested buyers into the building to inspect it. Do you want to comment on that? And a brief comment, and what I really want to know is, why wouldn't you let them in if they're serious potential buyers? And if a buyer made you an offer in a week or 10 days at the after rehab value that the CRA thinks the building has is about $3 million. Would Dr. Larner be prepared to sell? Then he's out of it. He's got the money to put back into his retirement or whatever else he wants it for, and it's off your back.
I'll answer the first question first. From the very beginning of the process in 1994, the building's been open to people to inspect it. In fact, Mr. Rubin...
Okay, so you just, all right, so you just basically dispute that they
all
weren't allowed
marched through
in.
the building in 94. People have had access to it if they had wanted to. It's locked.
Okay,
It's
wait,
under guard.
wait.
So you need to make arrangements, and people have been permitted access
Okay,
to it.
but so is it just fair to say that you dispute the statements that a couple of my colleagues have made, that, and somebody just made it, I think Mr. Rand just made the same statement at the microphone, that no one was allowed in, or he wasn't allowed in until 4 days ago?
Well, we dispute that statement. What Mr. Rand is new to the action, brought in just very recently. He wasn't around while the EIR
We're
was
going
being
to have to
circulated,
have an
and he
answer,
could have then had
because
it.
your time is up, Ruth.
All right, and the second part of the question was?
Dr. Larner has made it clear from the beginning he does not wish to sell the property. He's held it for
Okay,
30 years.
okay,
He'd
okay.
like to keep it in his estate.
Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Councilman Hernandez.
You know, members of the council, I have a building in my district also called, well, it's on 3rd and Loma, the Clark Residence. And it's a beautiful historic residence. It's a castle type. Many of you have seen it if you're traveling down 3rd Street going east. And it took about $7.5 million from CRA to save that building. That's the bottom line. And it was housing. And it serves as housing. And it serves as community space, and it serves a purpose there. You know, the Conservancy has an active role in the city, and we can't forget that role because we need them to remind us on an ongoing basis that we have a history. Their only problem is they don't have funds. And so when we side with the agency, we need to understand that it becomes our role
How much money is due for
to subsidize. You see, I'm willing to support a motion not to agree with either report, but to hold our decision for 30 days, so that we come back with a plan. Whether it be with the current owner or the future owner, but a plan that tells us what it's going to cost us. Let's put up or let's shut up. It's easy for us to stand here and argue that everybody's lying. Let's find out what it's going to cost to preserve it. And then let's take a vote. We're either willing to pay it or we're not. Let's find out if we're going to pay it out of the general fund, if it's going to come out of tax increments. But anything that is what if, or maybe we can, shouldn't be considered. Let's clearly understand what we're voting on. That's my motion. I'm sure that the current owner is interested in the building and wants to preserve it, at the same time has his rights, and we should preserve those rights as much as we preserve the rights of the building. But let's just put it down in black and white. Let's just say this is what it's going to cost you, Los Angeles, if you want to preserve the building, put it up, or let the owner do what he should be doing, what he believes is the best interest of his estate. That's my motion, and I'm asking for a second. Mine says come back with a financial plan that tells us what it's going to cost us, so that when we're voting on that plan.
Okay, Mr. Holden, you have the floor.
Mr. President, justice delayed is justice denied. And I say to you that we should give no less to Dr. Lerner today than is fair justice. I am shocked at Mr. Malloy and some of the others who spoke. I'm shocked at the chairman of the committee, Mr. Hernandez, please. Mr. Fuhrer said Dr. Lerner would not admit anyone into the building unless he directed him to do so. You're damn right I was there, and that's a false statement. Now what happened, you asked Dr. Lerner, since though there were those who said, we want to buy the building, but we haven't seen it. And you turned to Dr. Lerner and say, would you be willing to grant them access to the building? His answer was, could you work it out, and my staff will work it out with you? And his answer was yes. No, not for your intervention. That's how you see it. You see it your way, but I got to tell you, Michael, we got the tape on this one. And we will play it after the vote, even here today, and you're dead wrong. And I just hate to expose you like that, but we'll play the tape.
Mr. Holden.
But the fact of the matter,
Mr.
Mr.
Holden,
President.
talk to me, will you
Mr.
please?
President, the MOU that Mr. Malloy keeps talking about dealt with proposed funding from MTA that deals with a transit center. A transit center only, yes or no? And when I make a mistake, you tell me. A transit center, they talk about Plot A, Plot B, and Plot C. They even talk about in this understanding matching funds. They talk about the fact that you have to advance the funds, and then they will reimburse you if you can justify that you spent it appropriately according to the MOU. Lay it on the table and tell the people what the facts are. You are hedging, and you're going to box them in, not just with this vote today, but with a lawsuit that you're going to lose. The fact of the matter, it is a full outright subsidy. There's nothing but a fraudulent attempt to delay the project. Smooth as silk they are, but yet they're wrong. And you know it. Fact of the matter is the EIR has been done according to our procedures. That's what stands in law, not this last-minute conversation that they're pounding your ears with. I say to you, Mr. President, we can do no less. That's been recommended by the people of the community, business people. We can do no less than require that Dr. Lerner comply with the rules and regulations of the City of Los Angeles as he moved to request and was granted a permit to demolish the building. And we should not deny him that right since he's been in compliance. Absolutely in compliance. It is outright sickness to thwart the process, and you know it. What you've done, in my view, is a violation of the law. If you vote against this man today, he will sue you, and I will join with him in providing all the tapes to show that he's right and you're wrong, and he will win.
Okay, Mr. Holden.
He will win. I ask, Mr. President, that we move the majority report so that won't happen.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Savornich. Mr. Wax?
Yeah, but first, before I talk, I don't want to lose sight of the most important priority. To Mrs. Chick's amending, Mrs. Chick had a motion that's very similar to Mr. Hernandez's, and I think that they put it together that if we don't vote for either majority or minority, we do as a substitute the 30-day motion to get the information and the options that they were both talking about. I want to make an amendment to that so that to order that the city not issue any demolition permits during that time, because you need to make sure that that there be a hold on any demolition while we have that 30-day period. So that would be an amendment. Ms. Chick and Mr. Hernandez would accept it as part of that, and then I think we can feel comfortable going down that road and really getting the scenario. I do feel a little sorry for Mr. Malloy. He's in the position now that he most dreads, being where both sides are mad at him. That that's a good sign that we're getting somewhere, Mr. Malloy. First, I want to say, Mr. Alatorre did have I hate to admit it, a very, very valid point. He hit on one of the issues that I chided the Conservancy with. If it was such a great building, why didn't you, nominate it before? And I think that the reality is, Mr. Alatorre, is because it's been on the California register, it's enjoyed protections that have gotten it to here, and now, in fact, a designation would give more time. Because a designation in Los Angeles doesn't mean a building is saved. A designation in some cities means a building is pretty much saved. A designation in LA buys you time, buys you about a year to go through this process to see if there's willing buyers and all there. So the fact is that had it been designated, we'd have run to the end of the line, and the building would probably be destroyed. The question is, do we want to weigh the importance of trying to save and reuse a building like this, or do we talk about, is the man a nice man and all that? That isn't the issue. Every person who has owned a building in the world, probably, that has been preserved, they may have been nice people, but they wanted to see their buildings torn down so that other things went up. And societies saved them. They said the value of saving it is more important, as long as you don't wrong a person and take his property from him without compensation, which all of us are sitting here saying that he shall be justly compensated and or given the opportunity to participate in this. So it is not about making a man whole. It's about whether the extra profits that might ultimately be made down the line go to an individual who you think is nice, or the city profits by having preserved a historic monument which is reused and all. And the value to the city is more important than the extra value to any individual. I think Ms. Chick and Mr. Hernandez's motion is reasonable. That time will give us a chance to go through the various economic scenarios of different buyers and different levels of subsidy and different uses and where the sources may be, and then we can make a decision. Exactly, Mike, you're right, as to what do we value most, and are we willing to, in essence, put our money where our mouth is and be given that opportunity. So I would support the Chick Hernandez motion with the proviso that no
Mr. Wax, your time is
designation be
up. Mr. Burnson.
Yeah, basically this boils down to the question about whether the current proposal would be willing to spend his own money to do these improvements, or whether these improvements are going to come from public money on the CRA. And to me, that means a great deal. First of all, I don't know that it's within the jurisdiction of the CRA when it comes to this type of activity as historical preservation. That's number one. But this building is going to cost at least, I don't care whose figures you use, it's going to cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 to $5 million if you're very conservative for restoration. Is that not correct?
At least $5 million.
At least $5 million. Now, where's that $5 million going to come from? It's going to come from public funds. MTA funds are public funds. CRA funds are public funds. So are we willing to subsidize somebody $5 million of public funds in order to buy a building that is extremely questionable, as much as it was a beautiful building, as that it is extremely questionable about whether it is feasible to be restored? And to me, that's a very simple question, and I'm just as gung-ho on saving historical buildings and buildings that are architecturally worth saving as any of you. But I'm telling you that I went through the whole gamut on this. I looked at the pictures, I did the homework as far as looking at the figures, and I looked at the building stone by stone. And I'm telling you that $5 million of public funds is not the answer here. And I would ask the developer, the proposer who wants to develop this building, would you be willing to spend your own money on this to do the approvals? Would you answer that question, please, and guarantee that you're going to restore it?
Absolutely, we're prepared to put up money to restore this building. That's correct. And,
You're at-
and
what are
we,
you-
we have estimated that it would cost about $3 million to do so, and that would be our own private capital.
And you want to do what with it?
To restore the building and lease it out. To buy the property, restore the building, and lease it out.
Without any subsidy whatsoever?
No, we would be working with the
Oh,
CRA
that's the
on
question
that
I
portion of
asked
it.
you, and you didn't answer it. You came in with a story about the 20-story building. That's not what I asked you. Would you
No.
please take a seat?
Oh.
Thank you. Take a seat. You had an opportunity to testify in the public hearing. You know, this is a good example of the double talk you get from people who have a single agenda. And that's what this is in this particular case.
Stavornich. Mr. Stavornich moves the previous question. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
Was frozen. 7 aye, 8 no.
The discussion continues.
Thank you.
Mrs. Chick, I believe, has the floor. Is there anything else you can say that you haven't said already?
I don't know. If I keep listening to my colleagues, I'm coming up with more and more things I want to say. In terms of what the real issues are, what the dynamics are here, how we have someone sitting at the table answering questions who's, under the gun from a variety of directions, so that one wonders if the answers we're getting are worth anything at this point. Colleagues, what we have heard is the property owner is not interested in selling his property. That he is absolutely convinced, after having had the property sit there fenced and no security patrolling it to keep out some of the vandals. I was there also. I see what shape it's in. It's been a process that's happened over years, and there were further preventative things that could have been done. I'm trying to stay away from arguing who's telling the truth and who isn't, and who's a good person and who isn't, and who can we believe here and who can we not. And I would have a decent amount to say on that subject. But I believe if we're looking at the merits of the situation here, it's been said by several, it's how much do we care about preserving our historic past and respecting private property rights and caring about economic development in a neighborhood that needs it. Our CRA staff has told us there is money already set aside for renovating this building. That, matched with the private sector dollars that have been put on the table, equals a very realistic amount of money to do this project. And it is not about the property owner and whether he's a good person or not. That's undisputed. It's about a much bigger picture than that. Colleagues, I ask for support on the minority report. I would like to change my motion, however, from an amending motion to a substitute motion so that we can vote on the fine. And we have joined Mr. Hernandez's motion, which asks for specific information on public subsidy.
Mr. Hernandez.
Members of the council, I want to make myself perfectly clear, because what I expect to come back within these 30 days is what it's going to cost us to make this project whole. What's it going to cost us? And that's the vote we're going to take. It's not going to be based on what if MTA puts in money and what if this other person purchases it. You have an owner of a piece of property who has estimates already that CRA is going to look at. And that's what we're going to vote on. So I cannot tell you I'm willing to vote on $5 million for this building. But what I think that we have to get away from is all the other things that we've been playing in this debate. If we want to preserve the building, this is what it costs. And that's the vote we're going to take. When Ms. Chick comes with motions for the Madrid Theater, the reality is this is what's going to cost. And that's what we're voting on. And that's what that preservation is costing in terms of subsidies. And where's it going to come from? So that's what I'm trying to explain. And the reason I wanted the 30 days is so that we could clear that up. Because we're spending a lot of our time talking about what ifs. And I just want to know what it's going to cost to preserve the building and make that decision, if I want to vote for that, and where's it going to come from. And that's the basis of my motion. I don't want to take anything from the current owner. I want to make them whole. And so that's what the motion is about. And I just want to make that very clearly because I might not be supporting what comes back to us.
Anyone else want to be heard? Okay.
The majority report before us, Mr. President.
Mr. President, first you would vote on the question of whether to substitute Councilman Hernandez and Chick's motion for A and B that you have before you.
Mr.
So
Chair,
the first
I
vote
don't think
would
everybody
be,
should be in their seat, and I want to
and it
know.
was amended by Wax to instruct Building and Safety not to issue a demolition permit during that 30-day period.
Mr. President, we want a no vote on this substitution.
This is on the question
Richard?
of whether to substitute the Hernandez-Chick motion for A and B
Okay.
before you.
Did everyone get that? Prepare
Yes.
the roll.
No vote.
Tabulate the vote.
7 aye, 8 no.
Now what do we have before us?
All right, now you have the minority report question by Councilman Fuhrer, whether to substitute the minority
I moved
report for the majority
He did not
report.
remove the minority report. I moved the majority report, and when asked for an aye vote. I moved the majority report. He didn't move the.
With the vote we took previously was to substitute.
Hernandez-Chick's motion for A and B, because
So-
that would have been a
so-
continuance and with instructions for
Okay,
the
let's vote on the substitute to Mr. Fuhr's motion.
No.
Or Mrs. Chick's motion. Huh?
We voted on
Yeah. Now it's your motion. Your
No.
your committee, your minority
Does the
report.
majority report comes first?
No.
Yes.
Not.
Normally, you vote on the question of whether to substitute the minority for the
Yes,
majority. That's why it's listed on the agenda.
That's what we're voting on now.
This is whether to substitute the minority, the historic designation, for the majority, which is to demolish.
I vote. As for no vote.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the.
What?
This is on the question of whether to substitute
No
minority
vote.
for majority.
Tabulate the vote.
No vote.
5 aye, 10 no.
All right, that failed. Now we have the
Now
majority
you have the
report.
majority report before you.
Is what we want.
Majority report is just as it appears on your agenda, and it instructs Building and Safety to submit findings, et cetera, before issuing the permit for demolition.
Prepare the roll.
I vote.
Tabulate the vote.
10 aye, 5 no.
That is approved. All right, the next item,
The next item, Mr. President, would be item 15. Councilman Holden called 15 special. The recommendations from IGR and Transportation Committees differ.
okay, Mr. Holden, you call 15 special. Press your button, Nate.
Mr. President, members, I'm just going to respectfully request that I think there's been some discussion with the chair of the Transportation Committee, and the information that was presented to the chair of the Transportation Committee was substantially different from the report from IGR, which was the matter that they were to hear there in that form. So if it come back to IGR, we have both of them as presented. Go back to IGR, Mr. President. We won't deal with it today.
Yeah, we've been hashing that
You did?
issue out. I feel comfortable with what we did in Transportation Committee, and I understand the concerns you raised. I have no problem with sending it to IGR to review. I think you'll concur.
We'll bring it right back.
That would be
next
fine.
hearing.
That would be fine. And there's no urgency because it's too late to submit
Right.
something anyway.
Thank you.
Okay, the 15 will go to IGR committee.
Yes.
There's no objection. That'll be the order. Next item.
19 called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. President, I just wanted to hear some discussion as to what substations they're going to close down or centers, community outreach centers would be open, and the ones that would be closed if they have also been recommended. So if someone could give us a report on that, it'd be fine.
Is there someone here that can give us a report on that? It'd been nice if you'd have gotten that information Your staff could have gotten that information, Nate, before.
Good morning. I'm Captain Dan Koenig from the Police Department. With me is Sergeant Manny Ramiro. I didn't hear the question, sir.
Mr. Holden, quit taking the accolades and tell the gentleman the question you want.
These are police substations, the centers, is that correct? Community
Yes, sir.
centers? And you plan to close some? Is that correct? Yes or no?
We have about 80 either stop-in centers, community service centers, or substations that don't have the proper paperwork. We will be getting this will cause the proper paperwork to be created. There's a possibility that some may be discontinued because they're unacceptable from a risk management standpoint.
If you discontinue them, would you let the council know?
The area COs would be involved, and I'll let them know to talk
Each
to you.
council office would be...
Yes, sir.
All right, fine. With that, Mr. President, I have no objection.
Okay, prepare the roll on 19. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Ms. Goldberg, did you solve the problem on 4? You want to move the...
I want to move the report as it was written.
Okay.
Confirm the assessment?
Confirm the assessment.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on 6 and 24, please. The next item,
Item 29, called special. The committee reports differ.
29.
Yes, Mr. President. B and C, the Budget and Finance Committee and Personnel agree. They include the employment authorization for the City Attorney's Office on this program. However, governmental efficiency differs since it didn't include the Employment Authority. So I'd need a motion to approve B and C.
Ms. Goldberg, you move?
Yes, I move immediately. Absolutely.
Okay, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
33, called special by Councilmember Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, my questions have been answered on this issue.
Okay. 33 is before us. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
39, called special. 39A by Councilmember Alarcon.
Mr. Alarcon, you call 39A special?
This item is, I just wanted to point out to my colleagues that this is an item that allows for, there is a technology that exists that allows to change traffic signals with approaching public safety vehicles. As you know, there have been a number of people who've been killed, and the city has been sued in these kinds of situations. So I'm just asking that my colleagues flag this particular item. It is going to take a political will to find the funding to be able to advance this technology. And but I did want to point it out. In 45 days, we'll get the report back in the Transportation Committee, and hopefully we'll have some solid proposals as to how to advance this technology beyond the pilot project that we now have.
Anyone else want to be heard on 39A? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Mr. President.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
With your permission, I'd like to speak to an item that did pass. I had to leave because of a particular item that was coming up that I needed to absent myself on. But item number 19, if a reconsideration is appropriate, I'd like to move it. If not, I would address it in the way you deem appropriate. There's unfinished business on the part of the General Services Department with respect to the police substations, and I wish to have a couple of words to say on that matter.
Okay.
Item number 19, reconsideration, please.
Is there any objection to reconsidering 19? Seeing none?
19 is a
Good.
public safety report on the cost and effectiveness of the LAPD's community outreach centers.
Good.
Okay, Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr.
The matter is
President.
reconsidered, and you have the floor.
Thank you. I wish to say the following, that with respect to the 100-plus substations or some variation on that theme, we learned that there are no lease agreements for at least 50 to 75% of them. And in many instances, what we have is a situation where a call is placed to General Services to upgrade those facilities without any handle on the cost that the city is incurring. So I wish to add to the report this request of that action, that a report be done by General Services to give, and the CAO's office to give us an accurate assessment of what expense we currently engaged in or incurred for the upgrade of these facilities, and what is the status of the lease agreements on them. I think we are at risk in terms of liability issues as well as runaway cost unless we know the answer to that set of questions. Mr. President, if that can be done and if members of the council concur, I will be glad to conclude my remarks.
Mrs. Chick?
Mr. Ridley Thomas, I didn't hear the last part of what you were saying.
It's essentially to get a report from the General Services Department and the City Administrative Officer on the amount of money that has been incurred and the status of the lease agreements on the vast majority of the substations and or the variation on the theme of substation, because it is my understanding that from 50 to 75% of those outlets have no such agreements, and I am quite concerned about the runaway cost one and the liability that the city might very well incur.
I very much welcome that next step. This has been a long time coming to the council and was at the request of the Public Safety Committee to the department in terms of going forward and creating new community police centers. But what we haven't done is what you're suggesting, is to go backwards and get a sense of what's in existence, and also at the same time for LAPD to continue looking at the effectiveness of some of these centers and some of the pulls on police deployment, and how often the public is in fact going in and using the services available. So I think it bears both expansion and continuing scrutiny from both of those perspectives. I would like for us to move ahead, and I assume what you're asking does not preclude approving this report that's before us and then adding to it additional information.
That's correct.
Because one of the things this does, colleagues, is it puts criteria in place, something we didn't have before, and we were having these centers kind of grow up all over the city, sometimes in places that didn't make sense, sometimes at great cost, sometimes at great frustration of the public because, in fact, they weren't being staffed properly and the public wasn't being notified properly. So I look forward to getting the further information that my colleagues' committee will add to the mix.
And I guess my concern in that connection is it may be necessary, based on this report, Mr. President, members of the council, to close some of those that are existing down for reasons related to cost and reasons related to liability.
Okay.
Yep.
I thank you.
Okay, what is Mr. Ridley Thomas?
He has an additional recommendation to the public safety report that General Services and the CAO be instructed to report on the expenses incurred on the upgrade of these facilities thus far, and that they report on the status of the lease agreements on the centers.
Okay, is there any objection to that amendment? Seeing none, now we have 39A as amended. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 aye.
19, yeah.
That 19, I'm sorry.
Okay.
19.
You added 20 years on to me, Mr. President.
Next item.
Forthwith to the mayor. Forthwith, item 11.
Forthwith. No objection, that'll be the order. Next item.
This is a time for comments from the public on non-agenda items.
Okay, we have a Robin Mitchell. Robin Mitchell,
My name is Robin Michael with Automated Payment Services, and as a concerned citizen and a local business person, I wanted to talk about an item that was on the agenda yesterday regarding check collection and verification service. I was one of the bidders in that whole process, and I just discovered this conclusion that was reached yesterday about it, that the award was made to ProCheck. And I just wanted to point out that I was pretty shocked when I saw this, to see that the city was willing to spend about $250,000 a year on check collection services that was totally avoidable. Our service was absolutely free. In fact, we were willing to pay the city a substantial amount per check that were collected. And at the time, we did not bid on the verification services because our services were not quite online yet, but we do have those now, and we pointed that out in our proposal. My objective here is really just to let you know that you are paying more than you need to pay, and I'm a little bit puzzled as to why this selection was made. You've all been sent an email regarding this information, so you should have more details to read if you really care to do that, and you're welcome to contact me.
Are you finished, Mr.?
I am finished.
Michael? Okay,
Thank you.
D. Leaning.
Good afternoon. Leaning Sunland Tahunga. To the viewing audience, come next Wednesday, Gong Hei Fat Choi. From the LA Times, January 4th, 1998, quote, "For years, our water bills have had a sewer service charge of about 80%, and this was assessed on the basis that about 2/3 of the water used went into the sewer. The sewer charge for the rainy season is now based on 100% of that delivered water going into the sewer," unquote. Last month, my address was charged not 100%, not even 200%, but 400%. Again from the Times, quote, "Your council member voted for this," unquote. In closing, do not take back the Raiders, or you are the numbskulls of the numbskulls. Thank you.
Please note, Mr. Holden. Richard Robinson. Mr. Holden, what time is your press conference tomorrow? A lot of us want to see it. At 5 o'clock? Go ahead, Mr. Robinson. You want to be heard, or you want
Mr. President, members of council, the elected Charter Reform Committee on improving the structure of government meets at Water and Power in the Conference Center at 111 North Hope Street tomorrow night at 6. The appointed commission meets at Water and Power also tonight at 6. Also, I believe. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Ferrara and City Councilmen and City Councilwomen. I am here today. Mr. Ferrara, excuse me, sir. What address do you have on that card? Mr. Ferrara?
Yes, dear.
What address do you have on that card?
I can't read.
Yes, you can.
No. You live in Nate Holden's district, so you check it out with him.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Here, I have a picture of a young man. This young man is a mental ill man. He was thrown in jail for this man's crime and corrupt officials, Barrington Anthony Gray's crimes, Department of Justice, Immigration, and Naturalizing Service. You are ordered deported. Now, Mr. Gray never paid rent on that card that you have there. I would like to read this to you. Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 10. Who mislead the upright into an evil way will fall in his own pit, but the blameless will have a godly inheritance. Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is perverse in his own way. Like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. My family and I have not received any gift from anyone. We are living in a hazard condition. I would like for you to pass this. Give this to them, please.
Okay, Gracie, we have other.
The reason that I spoke about this, about the one who mislead the upright into an evil way, you don't send a person into your dope-infested area and put dope on an innocent person. You are supposed to get rid of the dope pushers, not the users. Now, we all know that the trump up that you did on my two sons, Winfred Bocage and Joseph E. Garner, God knows where it came from.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Ferraro.
thank you. Larry Ross.
Do you want to take a 1, 2, 3, or you want to take?
My name is Larry Ross. Just as a person can be identified by his or her practices, the same holds true for a nation as well, especially so since it takes people to make up a nation, or a nation is made up of peoples. And once a person changes the values and morals which came to define or identify such a one, for all practical purposes, that person ceases to be or has died. And the same can be said of a nation. By regressing more and more from the document which gives it its uniqueness and identity, at that particular time, this nation would have become undefined, ununique, and would have lost its sense of national identity at home, and even more so abroad. The demonic communication concerning the enslavement, abuses, violations, mayhems, mutilations, kidnappings, and hanging of my sons are continuing, with the communications identifying the perpetrators as being the county clans, or Clans County, the very ones out front who are perpetrating fraud out in the open, along with their puppets, puppies, and fleas, in that they are behind the illegal arrangement in practice in this city and counties of Los Angeles and outside of it, especially so where relatives of mine are situated. The aforesaid unlawful illegal arrangement is in effect to harm me and mine, therefore a potent threat to my continued existence as well as theirs. Once again, abuses and violations are continuing, but yet the debt has not been paid. Therefore, the issue still stands. When will the LA County Council members pay its debt? Because as long as you wait, the debt will increase.
Okay, is there anyone else that wants to be heard? Seeing none, that's all the cards we have. The public comment period is closed. We are going to go into executive session, so all those not involved with the executive session, you can leave the council chamber as we clear the desk off. Diane?
Motions for posting and referral, Mr. President.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
Excuses on the desk. Councilmember Alarcon has requested to be excused city business Friday, January 23rd. A motion is required.
Mr. Alatorre moves, unanimous vote.
Councilmember Savornich has requested to be excused personal business February 18th, meets council policy.
Is that a Friday?
No, it's a Wednesday.
Unanimous vote.
Closed session items 44A and B and 45.
Okay, let's... anyone that's in the chamber that's not involved with the executive session, please leave.
Well, we can still do these. All right, are we back into session, in open session, Madam Clerk?
Yes, you're back in open
Okay,
session.
item,
You don't have a quorum, though, Mr. President.
well, but the motion will be continued
Will
to
be
the
left on the desk.
27th.
No, you have to leave it on the desk, Mr. President.
You can leave it on the desk till Friday.
All right, then it
and
will
on
remain on
Friday
the
we'll
desk till
continue to the
Friday, and on Friday,
27th.
let's not have to go, though, let's indicate that the intention on Friday
I will put that on the agenda,
will be to
that the
continue it to the
intent is continue it
27th,
to
so
the
that the
27th.
lawyers don't have to sit around all day waiting, and we don't have all of that.
Earlier that we did, okay.
And the other item will be continued until Friday to be heard at that time. All right, are there adjourning motions? Would the audience and the council please rise for adjourning motions? Does anyone have an adjourning motion? I see none. Council's adjourned.